Ma'am.
Afternoon. I would like to get our session started as it's already time. And I would request you to keep your microphones off and your videos off as well so that you get better transmission. For the best, we can go for a question and answer session at the end where we can actually communicate with our microphones on. In the meantime, if I need you to communicate with me, we will use the chat option. And our session will be a little bit interactive where I would like you to use the chat section wherever need be. Now, without much delay, let me get things started. Right, we're going to do two things together. We're going to look at the overview of Foundation English Test is. And after that, we will look at one of the skills, which is listening. So for Foundation English Test overview, before we go into that, a little bit about myself. I'm CELTA qualified and I have experience for over 12 years. I have trained a range of teachers across Bangladesh. My education, I've got a master's degree. Part of my education was abroad, and I secured first class first in Bangladesh in the master's degree. And as for experiences, I've developed the APTIS program, and I am an IELTS expert. I conduct different workshops. I gave training to candidates at World Bank, High Tech Park, BCS officials, BTRC, and so on, not to mention. Now, going back into our session today. What is the Foundation English Test? It assesses the English used in a vocational context, or you can say an occupational context, and it is fairly simpler. It is actually an entry-level English which allows users to show what they can do and not worry about what they can't do. So that is about it. It gives an accurate result where the employers can rely on. FET not only assesses lower levels, but it makes it more appropriate for candidates who are only a entry-level English into the English. It is quicker to complete and it is more affordable. Now, the overview of the test, it's got the 4 skills where we have listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And the total test takes about 80 to 90 minutes to complete. I will go through each of the components in details as we progress in the session. Now, looking at this Foundation English test, I would like you to watch a video, and after the video, we will have some questions to answer. So are you ready? Can you all see the video? Just give me a yes sign in the chat box. Wonderful. Okay, now I'm going to start the video. If you can, let me know if you can hear the sound. Can you hear the sound?
What if there was an English language test that could evaluate a candidate's core English skills for a specific job?
Wonderful.
Well, now there is. Many jobs do not require a high level of English proficiency, and Foundation English Test offers a simple and fair assessment solution for that. It can help you assess the English skills needed to get a job at entry level, since it has been specially designed for lower level test takers, from A1 to B1 on the Common European Framework of Reference. Foundation English Test covers all 4 language skills: listening, reading, writing and speaking, in a user-friendly way based on the type of English needed in the workplace. It helps employers recruit for specific jobs so that right candidates can communicate effectively with colleagues and customers. Foundation English Test also supports vocational education programs to enhance employment opportunities and to give candidates a solid foundation to enter the world of work. What's more, it's short enough to help recruiters efficiently test high numbers of candidates with a fast turnaround. It takes 80 to 90 minutes to complete the test, and results are available in 48 hours. If your organisation is recruiting vocational workers or helping people to improve their employability, Foundation English Test is for you. To find out more, visit our website.
Okay. We are back, and I've given you a glimpse of the Foundation English Test. Now, based on this, I would like to ask you some questions, and the questions are coming up. Can you please try and answer the questions? It's a very simple one. The first question, yes, all right, yes, entry level, targeted at entry level, wonderful. Number 2, what do you think the number 2 answer is? What levels is it specially designed for? Communication level? Give it a little more try. Can others give it? All right, entry level, wonderful. Number 2, can we look at number 2? What levels is it specially designed for in the CEFR level? CEFR level is the level where we assess. Number 3, okay, yes, wonderful. A1 to B1, exactly. It covers how many skills? Number 3, it covers dash all skills. How many skills does it cover? Wonderful, covers all the 4 skills. Yes, yes, I'm getting answers, wonderful. FET, that is Foundation English Test, is about dash to dash minutes long. How long is it? How long is the test? Wonderful, between 80 to 90 minutes long. And wonderful, 8, wow, I'm very impressed. I'm getting all the answers. And the last one, results can be got within dash hours, 48 hours. Wonderful, yes. The last answer, 48 hours. Wonderful, you were all very attentive, and I'm so happy to hear that. Now let's progress and see what we have left. Now, this test is for elevating employment prospects. How does it help in the employment prospects? It can boost effectiveness by helping people progress in the competitive job market. And this test is usually used by vocational schools, colleges, and universities, also by government agencies and bodies, and by any other organization facilitating recruitment. So this is a very, very intensive in English test, which can be used by this particular places. Now, the test format, it is a context of a mixture of everyday English and the English used in the workplace environment. You mentioned it takes about 80 to 90 minutes, and there are 4 key languages. This is designed, developed, and delivered only by British Council. And the only thing is, this test is delivered on computer only. So there is no pen and paper for this test. Everyone has to sit in front of a computer. Even for the speaking part, it has to be in front of a computer. The best part is there is no separate vocabulary or grammar test. It is only on the 4 skills, and it measures A1 to B1 on the Common European Frame of Languages. For candidates with special needs, special accommodation can be made for them. A key element of the test is its length, because it's tailored to make it more manageable. Now, for the result, there are 2 ways. It's very quickly. You have a numerical score for each skill, a CEFR level, and overall CEFR level. So individual one and an overall one. And all these tests are with a unique QR code, which provides digital verification, confirming the authenticity of the test. And this features the blockchain credentials, which means the highest level of security, verifying that all the test reports are issued by British Council. Now, this is how the candidate test report looks like. This is the front page where you have the candidate report written, and this is the QR code, the validity of the foundation English test. And then we have your details on test information in this block here. In the lower part, we have two types of score, the CEFR skill score and then the numerical score, which is just one side by side. The CEFR score can be compared, it gives it, and this scores could not be compared across the skills because these are benchmarks for different skills. So the numbers are given and these are benchmarks for different skills. The test comes in 2 pages. The back page, this is what we saw as the front page. And at the back page, it gives the guideline on how the CEFR level is being marked. So A1, A2, B1, what does it actually mark the candidate on? This is how the report looks like on the 2-page thing. And then how can the CEFR it gives you the benchmark for proficiency, and it can be referenced to descriptions of what language users can usually do at typical levels. It also differentiates the strengths and weaknesses. It helps provide learning pathways for both the learners and the teachers, and also help target improvement. It helps to find the appropriate learning material targeted at the right level and shows improvement over longer periods of time needed for these interventions. This course can be compared across the different language skills. The other part, the skill scores. The skill scores give a detailed understanding on the candidate's performance within a skill area. To track candidate performance for a given skill score over a period of time following a language, and to demonstrate the comparison within a group, including comparisons between students of the same skill. And finally, scores cannot be compared across the different language skills. And this is how these two scores can be interpreted. Now, if you have any questions on this, please type your questions in the chat box and I'll definitely address it. Okay, as I am not getting any questions across, I'm sure you all understood what is here. I will move on and move to our listening skill. We are going to start off with the listening skills. So I'm sure you're ready for that. We will get on with the listening part. Don't worry if you have joined late, you will get the recording. The session is being recorded. So please continue from what you see from this point, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so we're going to look into the listening part, Foundation English Test listening. Now, for the listening, what happens is we're going to look at what we're going to cover in this lesson. First, we're going to look at the format of the test, and then we will learn about each part in details. We will look at a sample demo test, and then how would we teach the different parts of this listening task to our candidates, and then practice exercises for candidates and demo practice test. So these are the different things we're going to look at today. For listening, the total time taken is 28 minutes. And basically, there are two parts. Part 1 which is recognizing information, and part 2, matching people and ideas. So these two parts consist of the whole listening test. Now, looking into the listening, this test is about 28 minutes long. And okay, sorry about that. The test is about 28 minutes long, and each recording can be played twice. So you get a opportunity to hear it twice. At the beginning of each test, please check the volume of your headphone. That is very, very important. And it is important that you can hear clearly. There are 17 recordings and 20 questions. How is that possible? We will just have a look at how that can be possible. Now, looking at the format of the test, I said it's into two parts, but actually the first 14 questions is 30 seconds long, and it consists of information recognition, where you listen to a telephone message, either a monologue or a dialogue, and it's a 3 MCQ option question. The same thing for part 2. Again, I call it part 1. Two of the numbers, number 15 and 16, it is slightly longer, about 40 seconds. And again, it is the same thing. Number 17 is slightly different. Number 17, you have to match information, where you listen to 4 people talking about the same topic, and each monologue will have a different set of questions. So in number 17, you hear 4 people talking, and each speaker will speak for about 30 seconds. I'll take you through that very quickly. So as I mentioned earlier, usually monologues, that's the first 8. Again, out of the 14, the first 8 are usually monologues and dialogues. But from question 9, where from questions 1 to 8, only the answer option can be heard. But from question 9, all the 3 options in the multiple choice will be heard, and you have to choose the best one. That is the catch here. Number 15 and 16 usually become more challenging because it is longer. And in number 17, 1 recording and you have to answer 4 questions. Now, an important fact about FET listening is, if you would like to hear the question for the second time, just click on the play button. That's it. The system will not allow you to listen more than twice. You're allowed to listen for 2 times. That's the biggest advantage. Now, looking into the first part, which is recognizing information. Now, this is how it will look like. Here, the test taker listens to a short telephone message. It's either a monologue or a dialogue. The recording is followed by 1 question and 3 possible answers from a drop-down list, or maybe it could be typed in there, depends. And you have to choose the correct answer. For this sample question, like an art school secretary calls a student about a meeting. When is the meeting? So you will hear only one of the options, and you can click on the right option just like this manner. It was in the recording, it was Monday, so you can just click on Monday. That's all you hear. You don't hear Tuesday and Wednesday. For 15 and 16, again, it is similar, but it is longer, where you hear all the 3 options. Like this question mentions, listen to a college student talking about the courses he is taking. Which course does he enjoy the most? That is the question. Now, what you have to do, you have to listen intently, because in the recording of 40 seconds, you will hear art, you will hear management, you will hear teaching. So you have to decide which one would be the correct answer. In this case, it will be teaching, because that's how it is recorded. Now, moving into the part 1 recognition, this actually focuses on A2 part of the questions. A2 part of the grading, where they can understand enough to be able to meet the needs of a concrete type provided speech and slowly articulated. So anyone who can achieve the all the answers in this part is a level of A2. They can understand the phrases and they can understand the expressions related to the areas. That is the very personal and in family information about shopping, local geography, employment, all that bit. And the speech is clear and slowly articulated, very slowly spoken, so that the listener can follow and tick the answer. So what are the key skills over here? The key skills are identifying specific spaces of information and word recognition. Now, over here, how do you actually teach your candidates, or what do you actually, how do you go about it? In the class, you might have learners practicing to write and write down numbers. So you need to teach them for spellings and proper nouns. And that can be done through a voice message. I'm going to take you right there. And I'm sure you can see the screen, a voice message. It's a British Council website, and it's very, very interactive. It's very useful. Over here, you listen to a voice message, answer the questions, practice your listening skills. So how do you do that? You go about a preparation task. And in the preparation task, it's very easy, where you need to drag the right answer into the box. So someone you can work with, what can it be? So you choose the correct answer and then you drop it into the box here. Things a company makes and sells. Since it is a computer related exam, this type of resources will help the candidate to upgrade themselves, and as such they can go about it. So it is very, very important that you can show them how to get about the different places. Now, over here, once you complete this, you can finish. That's right, a place number 3, it's an office. Wonderful. Yes, that's how you teach your candidates. That's a place where people at work at desks. Yes, a small book with information about a product. What can it be? It could be a brochure. So something like that. So that is how you actually go about it. And when you finish, at the end, there is an option of finish, where you press on that and come up with the answer. So price, a small book where you amount of money you pay for something. Yes, that's price. That's true. All right, let's go ahead with it. The price, amount of money. Yes, let's do this. Things the company makes and sells. Definitely that's product. Yes. At, that's the sign at. All right. At, that's the sign. Very good. Yes. Wonderful. And hyphen or dash. We need to teach our candidates what these are as well. So hyphen. Oh, sorry, this is an underscore. Hyphen and an underscore. Hyphen is just in the middle, and underscore is, this is not the right one, go away. Hyphen is this one, just in the middle, and underscore is at the bottom. So we need to click on that. So when you have done that, click on finish and you get your score. What did you score? You scored 8 out of 8, 100%. So the candidate can see it by themselves that what their scores are. And it is a self-interactive part where they can use. After that, they go into the listening, where they play the recording.
This recording is from the British Council.
These are the different
Hi,
questions.
this is John. Thanks for calling.
I'm not going to go through the whole recording. I've just shown you what to do. It's a 1 minute, 30 seconds recording. Based on the recording, there are 2 tasks where the candidate can actually answer. This is one of the parts where you can teach. The other thing is here, booking a table. Over here, in a similar manner, what do? We look into the preparation talks. Again, in the similar manner, there's a transcript. The best part is there's a transcript of what is being said in the recording, and then the 2 talks follow. The talks here, 1 talks here, and 1 task here. So the 2 talks are for the candidates to answer. In a similar way, another resource where you can see people meeting people at dinner time, and similar way, these are very, very interactive. You first look at the picture, try to see what they're doing, and after looking at the picture, try to do the preparation tasks. And these are simple languages, very useful, and then the recording, and then the 2 tasks that follow. So how do you improve your listening skills? Let's listen to this video, and it shows you how you can improve your listening skills.
Difficult skills to improve through real-life situations is listening. But have no fear. You can target your learning to make it a breeze. Here are 4 ways to make this happen. If you know you're going into a situation where English is spoken, you can prepare yourself by brushing up on the likely words which could be used. For example, if you're going to the airport, you're most likely to hear things about your flight, destination, visa, and luggage. Before you go to the airport, you can review the vocabulary related to these topics. Don't forget, if you don't catch everything the first time, it's okay to ask them to repeat it for you, which is also good practice. You can also practice by listening for specific information. If we go back to the airport example, you could listen out for your destination or flight number. This will keep the learning focused and practical for you. Like with reading, you can choose what you want to listen to for practice. If you're a TV or film fan, try watching a section without subtitles and then watch again with subtitles to check your understanding. You can also listen to radio programs or podcasts from all over the world. Choose a topic you're interested in, and you'll be amazed how many interesting programs are available. It may be hard to believe, but watching people can also help you listen. How does this work? When people talk, they normally use more than just their words to communicate. They're conveying meaning with their tone of voice, hand gestures, the way they sit or stand, and so on. Carefully observe the people you listen to. Linking it all together can help make the meaning clear to you. One thing to be aware of here is that there may be cultural differences in body language. If you are visiting somewhere new, it's a good idea to have a quick read about the customs and culture of the place beforehand.
Okay, so that's a video which will help you show your candidates, your students, how to go about the different listening, right? Okay. Sorry, where were we? Yes, this is where we were. So we've looked at the different inspirations for your learners, how you can go about it. Now, for the part 2, where you need to match people and ideas, task 17, it is a multiple choice task, and the recording has 4 questions. The test takers listen to 4 people about the same topic. For example, let's say the topic is watching drama. And then you need to know 4 beginnings of sentences which introduces the person's response to the topic. You will hear something, or you will see something like this on the screen, like speaker A like, and then speaker B like, speaker C like, speaker D like. So this is how you can actually see the different things. This task requires candidate to identify the opinions or attitudes of the speaker, and that is from a text that is more detailed than the speaker directly stating an opinion. So when you hear the text, you will not hear the answer directly, but you need to identify the opinion or attitude. So task 17 is the most challenging task of all the different questions, and possible endings would be given like this. For example, you will hear 6 endings to 4 answers. So 6 of them and 4 of them. So it is like, for example, you're going to hear like going to small theaters, watching drama at home, or maybe seeing unfamiliar plays, watching street theaters, going to a very large theater, or watching short plays. Now over here, the test taker must choose the best ending for each of the sentences, and each of the monologue will be about 30 seconds long. So that is how it is going to go on. Now, this is how you are going to see. 4 people are talking about outdoor in the city, and you need to complete the sentences below. So like speaker A has to, and we need to select from one of these 6 options. The same 6 options will appear when you click on the drop down list for speaker B, and then the same 6 options will appear when you click on the drop down list for speaker C and speaker D as well. So that is how it is going to be. And finally, when you have chosen your answers, this is how it is going to look like. So each of the speakers will have an answer from the drop down list. And that is how it is going to carry on. So in part 2, this assesses the B1 level. And the B1 level is focusing on the comprehension and the skills target. That is what the B1 level is focusing on. Right. So the 4th part, if I am not wrong, if you want me to repeat the 4th part, going back to the script, slides one more time, it is a little bit complicated in the sense that the same option appears for the 4 speakers, and you need to choose from each of these options what the answer is going to be. That is how it is going to carry on. And once you have chosen, it is going to show as a chosen one for the other part. Now, let's move on. If you have a question, I'll give you time. And if it is not very important question, you can type it in the chat box. We can take it from there. Now, as I was mentioning, this part assesses the B1 level of the candidates, and where the candidates can accomplish their comprehension and skills targeted level. And you can understand this straightforward factual information by common everyday topics or job related topics, or identifying both general messages and specific details provided by the speech. Okay, now this is what the last part is. You can understand the main points and clear speech of familiar matters, especially at work, school, leisure, including short narratives. The key skills which you are going to be looking at is identifying infer attitudes, intentions, opinions of the speakers, understand paraphrased content. I'm sure you know all this. Let me just look into inferred attitudes. Inferred attitudes are something that you need, or the candidate needs to identify and guess the answers by thinking, what does the speaker mean? Or it's kind of a hidden message where you need to understand the content where the speaker is saying. That is the inferred attitudes, and it's quite a little bit challenging if you're not used to this language. So that is what this part 2 assesses. Now, moving up, we have the different lessons for part 2 and what you can teach your candidates. If I could just show you very quickly, and these websites are very, very helpful to actually get your candidates a voicemail, booking a table. We just looked into that. Meeting people at dinner party, we also looked into that, meeting people at dinner party. And as I was mentioning again, what you do is you look at the picture, you do the preparation task, and after the preparation tasks, you actually go into the listening part where you listen to the script. And if you miss out anything, you can look at the written transcript and do the tasks. And the tasks are of different types. Like this tasks are putting the sentences into the right order. And the next task is about true and false. So it gives you an idea about how to go about it. It's all about listening. And if you click on the recording, it's listening for about 1 minute 19.
This recording is from the British Council. Hello, Julian.
So I'm not going to go through this recording at the moment. We can come back to it later if we need to. Right now, I'll carry on with the session. Okay. We've just finished with that. All right. Okay. Now, for this part, inspiration for how do you teach your candidates the challenging part, which is the B1, B2 level. And let me just take you there. Right. Okay. Now over here, 4 conversations. Okay. Let's look at a demo of 4 conversations where we're going to hear 4 conversations together. So if we look at this, since we're going to hear 4 people, this is the practice which you can do with your candidates. You're going to listen to 4 conversations to practice your listening skills. So we do the preparation task first, the preparation tasks coming up. And after the preparation talks, we listen to the 4 people. It's about a 4-minute talk. All right. In the preparation talks, you'll get to you need to put the words and phrases in the correct group. So like this is when you're thinking of something to say. You have 4 expressions over here. And when you show the other people, you're listening. 5 expressions. So this is very, very important because if you know the right words, you can follow the conversation very well. So like for the first one, what do you think? Is it in the first group or when you're thinking of saying something, or you are when you show other people? Is it like showing other people, or is it like showing thinking of something to say? I believe it is when you're thinking of something to say, yes. All right. I mean, when you show other people you're listening, or when you're saying something? I think you're saying something. So I mean also comes under this category. All right. Okay. This one also comes under this category. And all right. And which category does it go under? Thinking of something to say, or when you show the other people you're listening? I think and comes under when you are thinking of something to say, right? When you are showing, when you show the other people you're listening. Let's see, okay? Let's see comes under thinking, all right? Yeah. The other five, I think, comes under expression where you are showing the other people that you are listening. Maybe. Yeah, right. All right. This is how you actually teach your candidates. And after that, you click on the finish button. Now, the next thing is you come to the recording part. In this recording part,
is from the British Council.
you can follow the script as well.
A. How did it go?
I think it went quite well. I did a lot of research and prepared a lot. I was in there for, I don't know, half an hour?
And? What did they say?
Nothing much. At the end, I asked them, what happens now? And the woman said, we'll call you back with news in 3 or 4 days.
Really?
Yeah, I think I've got the job. There weren't a lot of other people there. I was the only interview that day, you know.
Well, good luck with it.
So you see, when you hear the speakers, it makes it easier for you to understand and go with the talks. So after you hear the speakers, you need to match the topics with the conversation. Like conversation A, what is it talking about? I think it is talking, we really heard that, and it is a work interview. So that is how you go about it. And these are all practice exercises for candidates, and the candidates can practice. If we listen to the second, third, fourth conversations, we can go about it like that. For talks 2, what happens? Talks 2, it's a true and false answer. Like the woman in the interview was in the interview for 15 minutes. How can she be in an interview? Yes. The woman thinks she's going to get the job. How can she get the job? So it is very, very important, and that's how you actually go forward and teach your candidates about it. Now, looking into the next one, audio, there are different audio series which you can use for your practice. And again, if we look that up into the right, if we look that up, you can see how you can teach your candidates, and it's very, very useful that you give your candidates some resources to teach, and that will help them learn and practice. Just give it a few seconds. It's coming up. Right. Okay, that's it. It's coming up. Audio series, an audio series of how you can teach. And over here, there are different things. Like first one, it's the CEFR level of B1. The second one is also B1. So clicking on that, you go into the actual exercise, and you have the different episodes where you can train your candidates. Clicking into one of the episodes, I show you and then it comes up. You have a preparation task to do. After that, you have the tape script, and then the two different tasks follow. So it is basically the same pattern, and you can use all these resources for your candidates when you are actually teaching them. Now, looking into a demo test, we have 5 questions. I want you to get your chat boxes ready, and you're going to answer the questions. I'm going to play the recording, so get ready to listen and write up the answers in the chat box. Like number 1, is it A, B, or C? Number 2, is it A, B, or C? Are you ready? Can I play the recording now?
Listen to a message from a father to his daughter. Which bus goes straight to town?
Hi, Chiho. It's Dad. I know you wanted to go to town this evening to buy a present for your friend. Unfortunately, I can't take you because I must stay at work for an important meeting. You can get the bus instead. Remember, bus number 39 goes straight to town without stopping. There is some money in the kitchen. I can meet you in town and bring you back home. Love you. Bye.
Wonderful. I'm getting answers. I'm really impressed.
Irena calls Mr. Williams about a job offer. What day is the meeting?
Look at number 2.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. This is Irena from the Job Center. I have some good news. We have a job offer for you at the General Hospital. They would like to talk to you first. The meeting is on Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. The hospital is on Green Street. Is that time okay for you? Please call me back as soon as possible. Thanks. Bye.
Wonderful. I'm getting answers. I'm really impressed. Wonderful. Listen to number 3 now.
Listen to a shop employee calling a customer about a computer. When can they bring the computer to his house?
Hello, Mr. Mendez. I'm calling from the computer shop. We agreed to deliver your new computer at 1 o'clock today. Unfortunately, our driver is behind schedule. We know that you need to leave home at 3 o'clock. Our driver can still be in your area at 2 o'clock. He can bring the computer to your house then. Please call us if you have any questions. Thank you.
Wonderful. You see, you're hearing the 3 options in number 3. That's how challenging it becomes.
Listen to an instructor talking about a training course.
Now listen
What
to
will
number
the
4.
trainees learn this month?
So far on this course, we've looked at the theory of metalwork. By now, you should have a good understanding of the machines on the factory floor. As you know, they're capable of cutting material to very precise measurements. Now, all the instructions are in your manuals, but there's nothing better than practical hands-on experience. So, I'm going to demonstrate the correct way to operate the controls. Each of you will then have a turn. It takes a little time to get used to, but I'm confident you'll be able to do it without a supervisor by the end of the month.
Okay, getting answers B, all right. Now listen to the 5th one, which is the most challenging.
4 employees were asked about their future career plans. Complete the sentences below. Speaker A.
I've been working at the same factory for several years now. I started out on the shop floor operating one of the smaller machines. I'm now qualified to use a range of equipment, and I have a good understanding of the whole production process. I know that one of the current supervisors is leaving at the end of the month. That means her post will become vacant. It's more responsibility, but I think with my knowledge and experience, I'm ready to take it on.
Speaker B.
Okay, getting answers.
I work as a gardener's assistant in one of the city's large parks. This is my first job, and so I don't have that much experience, but I'm keen to learn. Another assistant told me that it's possible to specialise in certain areas of gardening, and to do that you need qualifications. I've looked online, and I found a course at a local college, which leads to a certificate. It could be the right one for me, but I need to speak to the head gardener first to get her opinion.
Okay, that's
Speaker C.
all right. Wonderful.
I'm an assistant in a doctor's office. I don't have any medical training, and so I don't have any responsibility for the patients. I'm responsible for record keeping and ordering medical supplies. Of course, it's all done on computer. When I was at college, I learned the basic computer programs, and I feel confident using them. I recently heard they are planning to improve our current record system. I'm looking forward to being trained on it, as I hear it's much faster.
Okay.
Speaker D.
I work in construction. I'm a very practical person and good with my hands. I also think that I'm good with people. I'd like to be able to pass on some of the skills I have learnt over the years. I know I don't have any qualifications as an instructor, but I have a proven track record of helping people when they come on site for the first time. I'm going to suggest it to my boss and see what he says. I already have some ideas of what areas I could cover on the course.
Okay, I am impressed with your answers. The first one, number 1 and number 2 are straightforward. You just heard one of the options from the 3 option list. But from number 3, you heard basically all the 3 options and I got answers from you. I'm impressed. In part 4, the number of answers were less than what I heard before. So you see, it becomes more challenging. Yes. And your answers for all the answers were correct. Speaker A, answer was B. Speaker B, answer A. Speaker C, answer C. And speaker D was answer F. So you see how can you teach this to your candidates? This is where the thing comes back to you. I'm sure you're all trainers and we need to learn how to teach FET in class. To do that, the first thing we need to do is when the narrator, that's the speaker, is reading the instruction before the clip, the candidate needs to look at keywords in the question. Try to know the synonyms, and this will help you predict what the speakers might say. The second one, when the clip is played for the first time, because you have 2 options. When the clip is played for the first time, focus, listen and take notes, which is listen and try to guess the answer. Did you hear any of the keywords? Did you hear the synonyms? Be careful because sometimes you might hear a specific word from the question, but the context makes it clear it might not be the answer. So it has to be very critical. And when you can play it the second time, when it is repeated, that is, you listen and choose your final answer, your favorite answer. It becomes clear which answer is the best. And sometimes it isn't clear, but you can, of course, just answer one of the questions. Which is your favorite option? Which seems better than the others? Choose it and then forget about this question and move on because it's time you focus on the next one. That is the approach you should give your learners. Now, after this, we're going to look at the different strategies of teaching in the class. What different strategies can you use to teach your students listening in the class? There are 3 different strategies. The first one is pre-listening activities, and then we have the while listening activities and post-listening activities. For the pre-listening activities, it prepares the students by getting them interested in the topic. How would you arouse that? This pre-listening tasks can be based on the context setting of something they're going to listen to. You can motivate your students to listen. You can activate their background knowledge. If they know something about the topic already, you can try and bring that out. And the teachers can find out what the students already know about the topic. Prepare students for vocabulary and the language structures in the text. That is also very important. As tutors, you need to do that. And then help mitigate the anxiety which comes from listening a foreign language by providing a clear context. Again, that is quite important. And finally, you offer opportunities for classroom discussion and more interaction. This would be the pre-listening activities that you would get the students to be focused in. This will help the students try to get themselves involved as to what they are going to listen for. Now, when you're doing this, some of the activities could be, one of the activities could be brainstorming. And you can do that by revealing the theme by making notes before sharing their ideas. For example, if we have a topic on maybe travel, and basic brainstorming, just mention to your candidates or your students that, all right, so when you go from one place to another, what happens? What type of activity is that? And then when you move from one city to another, what happens? How do you go from one city to another? If it is within the country, they could come up with the different vehicles. If it is outside the country, they could come up with words like plane and flight. So that's basic brainstorming. So when you have a class and you're looking into the activity, you try to do the basic brainstorming. Another pre-teaching activity could be giving the students a couple of words and expressions, and then ask them to explain the words and expressions to one another in pairs. So basically, this is a pair task. You as a tutor or a teacher, you need to go through the listening activity before you enter the class, and then pick up some of the words and expression from that listening activity and try to give it to the candidates. And when you give it to the candidates, you tell them how they can actually go about it, and then how they can express it, or how they can match it with the expression. We just looked into the theme of travel. So if we look into this theme again, words like you can say immigration, you can talk about visas, and then another candidate or a student might have words like airport, flight, plane. So the matching part, and in this way you can arouse the interest and you can try and develop the pre-teaching activities. Another activity that you can engage your students in is give them the first lines of the transcript they're going to listen to. So when you give them the first sentence or the first two sentences of the transcript they're going to listen to, they can easily guess what the rest of the listening is going to be on. In this way, you can actually teach them how to get involved in the listening and how they can actually go ahead with it. So that is very, very important, the pre-listening task. There is another activity which is note-taking, which is in this part, you need to discuss this topic with the student and have them brainstorm headings for that, and after that they can hear some sort of transition words. For example, you give them a topic of maybe travel and tell them to talk to each other in pairs or groups, or maybe individually. You actually do that in the class, and ask them how they can act or what they can actually guess from the word travel. How many words can they come up with? What type of situation can they be in? And so all these type of settings will actually get the students involved in the pre-listening activities, and you can make it into a game, make it more interactive, so that the students are very engaged in the pre-listening activity. Now comes the while listening activity. This is when the listening is actually going on. Now, while listening activity is also called the during listening activity, and they are completed by students when they are listening to a passage or a text, and this is what you can teach in the class. Now, when while listening activity or during listening activity can help students to identify what is essential in the task. Very important. They need to identify what is essential in the task, perceive the text structure, what type of text structure it is, and keep themselves concentrated throughout the text. So these three things are very important for the while listening activity because as I mentioned, it identifies what's essential in the task, what they need to do, what the candidates need to do, and how they can perceive the text structure and how they can concentrate throughout the text while the recording is going on. So when you're teaching this while listening activity, there are some different criteria or different games or different interactive ideas when you can teach this. So the most while listening activity focus on the sub skills, and the sub skill is listening for gist. Very important. They need to listen for gist. They need to listen for specific information and speaker's attitude. So if we look at the first point, listening for gist, can you very quickly type in the chat box what you mean by listening for gist? What do they actually listen for? If it is listening for gist, what should they concentrate on? What's the main meaning of the word gist? Okay, yes, very good. On the main point, understanding the whole story. Wonderful. The summary, that is listening for gist. And we need to teach them how to do that. Wonderful. Now, the second one, if we look into the specific information is definitely to the point. Yes, very good. And it is very, very, it's a main point. It's not the whole summary, but just specific information, maybe a particular word or particular eye contact. Indeed, I like that. But that doesn't work here because you face the computer, right? And the third one, speaker's attitude. That is the most challenging part, speaker's attitude. Okay, eye contact, all right. And this is what the student actually needs to get, the expression. Wonderful, yes. The attitude, the hidden expression, what the speaker means, and the main answer might not be in the talk. You need to guess what the answer might be. So these are the three main things that you need to focus on when you are teaching in class. So take this into the consideration and allow students to listen to the text 2 or 3 times. That is when you're practicing in class, but at actual exam is only 2 times. Then encourage your students to focus on the global meaning and then the question. So when you're teaching them listening in class, focusing on the global meaning is very important before they actually focus on the question. In that way, it will become easier for them. Now, some of the activities. The first activity could be listen and describe. Over here, what happens or how do you do that? The teacher shares the story. Okay, very interesting. The teacher shares the story with the student, and instead of simply narrating the entire story, what can the teacher do? The teacher pauses at strategic points and prompts, and then the students write verbally or talk about it, talk about the descriptions of the characters and the events of the story. So this actually teaches the student how to listen to different text or different passages and prepare themselves before they actually face the computer exam. All right. There's another activity which you can do with students in class, that is hidden picture. Over here, based on the listening, the teacher can give a picture to the student of about anything that will be coming in the listening text. And once student will describe the picture, the other student has to note down some of the things in whatever the classmate says. So the person who is describing the picture will not show the picture to the rest of the class. He or she will only take the picture in their hand, stand in front of the class, and describe the picture. The other candidates or other students who are sitting down will just note down some of the things that their classmate says. In that way, the listening is being practiced, and then the words they are actually being said, they are being written down. So in that way, while listening activity can be accomplished. Another one is gap fill. Now over here, students, you can give students a transcript and then ask them to fill the blanks as they listen to the passage. And this is very, very in line with what we have done in the activity, right? So that is very important. You can do that. And this can be done by filling in the blank while listening to the passage. The students will be actively engaged with the spoken content. They can focus on the important details, and then they can sharpen their contextual understanding. So gap fill can be focused on 3 different things very, very intently. Very important. And then we can have another activity, which is the multiple choice. In the multiple choice, you can ask or I'll go back to the hidden picture type again. Let me just talk about the multiple choice. We all know about the multiple choice. So you can tell the students to read questions before they listen to the text, and then they select the correct answer out of 3 or 4 options, which is what we have just looked into this type. Now, the hidden picture type is very interesting, as one of you requested. That is, the teacher will give a picture to one of the students in the class and ask that student to come out and stand in front of the class with the picture in their hand. And this student will describe the picture to the rest of the class, and the rest of the class will note down some of the things that the classmate says. This can be done as one student standing in front of the class and the whole class writing it down, or if you have a lot of pictures, you can pair students up, group students up, so that it could be smaller groups where one of the student talks and the others write down the description, and then later match it to see if the description matches the picture. So this is a way of practicing while listening activity. And in the same way, the person who is talking is practicing his or her listening activities. So both the things can be achieved in the hidden picture activity. And it's very, very effective if you can try that with your students in the class. Now, moving up, if we look into the post-listening activity, we've done the pre-listening activities where the students are prepared about what they're going to listen to, and we have looked into the while listening activity, how they can accomplish the best when they are listening. Now we're looking into the post-listening activities where the teacher can find out how much the student have listened to and what their flaws are and what their strengths are. So the most common post-listening activities could be checking and summarizing. So checking and summarizing, here the teacher can check the understanding by asking students to summarize the information they heard. And this can be either done orally or in writing. And this is a very common one. Very common, and it's very easy for the teachers to check their understanding. So for what you need to do, first of all, you need to play the recording, and after the recording is over, without going to the question, stop and ask the candidates what they have actually listened to. They can either do it orally, as I mentioned, or you can tell them to write it down, and then you have a feedback done in the class. That is one of the post-listening activity. Another one is disappearing dialogues. Now, over here, it is a little bit planning process for the teachers, but this is a very effective way of finding out. Over here, what happens is you play the recording, and the teacher, you as teachers, will have some of the lines of the recording with you. So you're going to promote critical thinking skills. How do you do that? You write the recording or maybe project the recording, the transcript of the recording for the students to see, and then erase parts of the dialogue. Maybe in the first line, erase 1 or 2 words. In the second line, block or erase 1 or 2 of the words. In the third line, block or erase 1 or 2 of the words. In this way, maybe for one paragraph, in each of the lines, you block or erase 1 or 2 of the words. After that, go back to the beginning and ask your candidates if they can remember what words you have actually erased, or you can actually tell them to put in other phrases which might fit into the dialogue grammatically as well as logically. In that way, there are two things being practiced. You can practice with them their critical thinking skills. You can practice their sentence structure constructions, their grammar. So this actually helps a lot. If you as teachers can prepare yourselves a little bit about how you can go about it with the disappearing dialogues. Then we have writing short composition. So after, very easy, after the students have listened to a passage, they write a short essay based on the information, or just not an essay, just a short text based on the information given in the listening passage. And once they write that, their writing skill is being assessed, as well as what they have heard, their remembering critical skill. The remembering skills are also being assessed. So remembering thing is very important in listening, because when you are listening, you need to choose the correct answer. And to choose the correct answer, you need to remember what the speaker has said. So that is also very, very effective. And then we have a game of synonym and anonyms. Now, students can identify the vocabulary and then find the synonyms and anonyms for the same words in the transcript. So what do? Give the transcript to the students and tell them to identify vocabulary they find challenging. And once they have done that, replace those vocabulary with either synonyms or anonyms and let them see how it sounds. So you have to select it for them. Maybe in the first sentence, you pick up 1 or 2 vocabulary, and then we need to work on them. It could be done with groups of 3 or 4 students together, or you can do it as a class. Just tell them that in this sentence, I want you, tell them, all right, I'm not going to choose the difficult vocabulary for you, but rather you tell me which vocabulary is difficult. And then you give them aids like dictionaries and online support for them to come up with anonyms and synonyms. So there are different websites to do that. And dictionaries, they can be used in the classroom. And once they do that, it's another activity that keeps them busy and keeps them very, very educated. It's a very, very interesting activity. Now, looking into the overall listening comprehension, we mentioned that it is over 3 different scales. We have A1, A2, and B1. So in A1, what is being assessed? The speaker, the assessment is they can follow the speech that is very slowly and carefully articulated with long pauses for them to assimilate the meaning. And that is usually in the first questions, number 1 to number 13 or 14, where if they get a correct good score, they get an A1 straight away. Nothing to think about. For A2, the candidates need to understand enough to meet the needs of a concrete type of provided speech and a slowly articulated speech. Over here, they need to understand phrases and expressions related to the areas of most immediate priority. For example, basic personal and family information, shopping, local geography, employment, and the speech is clearly and slowly articulated. So for candidates to get a A2 level, they need to understand, again, a little more than A1 level. For B1 level, they need to understand straightforward factual information about common everyday or job-related topics. They need to identify both general messages and specific details, provided speech is clearly articulated in a generally and familiar accent. They can understand the main points of clear standard speech on familiar matters regularly encountered in work, school, leisure, etc. But that's B1 level. As I mentioned to you earlier, the part where the four speakers were talking, that's B1 level. And that is where you can see they can understand straightforward factual information. You need to understand the very common everyday job related topics. You need to identify the general messages. You need to identify the specific details. You need to go along with the accent that the speaker is talking about, get the main points of the clear speech. That's if you can do that and you can answer the four questions, that will be your B1 level. And that is how it is being designed. Now, let's look into the next part and some of the tips for listening. The first tip which you need is answer all the questions. If you don't, even if you don't feel sure about an answer, just click on any one of the options, but don't leave anything blank. That is the ground rule, very important. Before you click on the listening button, read the question. Read the question, try to understand what the question is saying, underline the keywords, and try to think about synonyms that you might hear. You might not hear the same words. The content words, very important. You need to do that. And then the keywords in the question which you listen. After that, listen for stressed words. Some of the speakers kind of stress some of the words, and sometimes these stressed words are the answers. So focus on that. You need to do that. You might listen to the question a second time to confirm if your answer, if you want your answer, but you don't have to. So listening to a question for the second time is not important. Only if you want to confirm your answer, then only you can listen to the same recording 2 times. Otherwise, you can move forward and go to the next recording. That is possible. You don't have to waste your time here. Be prepared for any synonyms or paraphrasing. Very important. Paraphrasing and synonyms are very, very important in the listening part, because you might not hear all the words at the same time. You might hear paraphrases or you might hear synonyms, and you need to check your or mark your answers accordingly. And don't panic if you miss out one of the questions. Look ahead and concentrate on the next one. Very important. So don't worry. If you miss it out, you miss it out. That's okay. Now, this is how the practice test looks like. And it shows, I'll try and take you to the practice test right now, to the website. And you can, sometimes the website doesn't work, but if we are lucky, definitely the website would work. And I'm going to take you there right now and show you how the practice test actually looks like. Right, this is the official Foundation English test website. And if you go down, we have the listening. When we click on the listening button, take a test, and you see it should work. All right, we're lucky. This is how the practice test assessment website looks like, where you have the foundation English practice test and number of questions, 17, total time allowed is 28. So you start your assessment and you can do this with your students. So when you do this, welcome to the foundation English test listening, and gives you the instruction where you're going to listen to 17 recordings. Click on the play button to listen to each of the recording, and you can listen to the recording 2 times. You have 28 minutes. These are the instructions on the first page. And when you click on the next button, the test will begin. So this is where you go ahead with the next button. The first question would be coming up. Yes. You see that? And the question is, Mala is telling her colleague. So when you are teaching this with your candidates, try to teach them in a way where they read the question first. Over here, the question is, Mala is telling her colleague about getting to the office. What is the bus number? And you have the option here. This is the play or stop button, and you click on the play button. That's when you listen. So when we're playing on the, all right.
Marla is telling her colleague about getting to the office. What is the bus number?
Hi, Mr. Lee. This is Mala from the head office. I'm sorry, but I can't collect you from the train station. I have a problem with my car. Can you take the bus? It stops in front of the train station. The bus number is 3. It goes to the office. What time does your train get here? Maybe we can have a coffee before our meeting starts.
Okay,
Please
wonderful.
call me this afternoon.
Yes.
Speak to you soon.
So the bus number is 3, and you can click on 3. See, that is highlighted. And once you do that, go to the next button and go to the next recording. Now we were looking at questions 8 or 9, where you can hear about all the 3 options displayed on the, let's go for 9. Okay, question number 9. In question number 9, in the first question, we only heard the first option. But when we listen to this, you will hear all the 3 options and you need to choose. So look at this. Listen to a man asking his colleague for help. Where did the man find the paper? When you're teaching your candidates, the key words in the question is man, colleague, man doing what to the colleague? Asking. So it is man asking the colleague, where did the man find the paper? So the keywords would be find paper. This is how you actually focus on the question and teach your candidates the main words. And then after you've done that, you play.
Listen to a man asking his colleague for help. Where did the man find the paper?
Hi, Vaishali.
Hi, Imran. How's your first day going?
Fine, thanks. But I want to print something, and the printer is empty. Can you tell me where the paper is?
Yes, sure. There might be some next to the copier.
No, I looked, and there isn't any.
Okay. Check in the cupboard. There's usually some there.
Yes! There's some in the cupboard. Great! I can do my printing now.
I'm happy you found some. They usually put paper on the front desk.
Yes, where it is easy to find. Thanks for your help.
Wonderful. I can see answers coming in. Definitely it is in the cupboard. But as I brought you to number 9, we heard all the 3 options. We first heard next to the copier, then we heard in the cupboard, and then we heard on the front desk. So all the 3 options are mentioned from number 8 onwards. So the candidates have to be focused, and since they hear all the 3 options, they cannot just tick any of them. It has to be in line of the question. So what did I say? If you cannot hear it for the first time, you play it for the second time. So once
Listen
you play
to a
it for
man
the second
asking
time,
his colleague for
see,
help. Where did the
there
man
is,
find the paper?
you cannot play it for the third
Hi,
time.
Vaishali.
Hi, Imran. How's your first day going?
Fine, thanks. But I want to print something, and the printer is empty. Can you tell me where the paper is?
Yes, sure. There might be some next to the copier.
No, I looked, and there isn't any.
Okay. Check in the cupboard. There's usually some there.
Yes! There's some in the cupboard. Great! I can do my printing now.
I'm happy you found some. They usually put paper on the front desk.
Yes, where it is easy to find. Thanks for your help.
You see that we played it for the second time. It is not, all the options are mentioned. Yes, they're not mentioned serially, but they're mentioned. First it was to the copier, then in the cupboard, and then finally on the front desk. So it is not going to be mentioned in any particular order, but it's going to be mentioned at random. And after you play for the second time, it is not allowing you to play for the third time. So it is gone. That is how you will know. Once you can play for the second time, the option would be there. It will be black and you can press on it. Right now, it's not allowing me to press on it. So that is what happens from number 9 onwards, or rather from number 8 onwards, where you hear all the options, Now, if we go on, move on to the number 15 and 16, that is where the recordings are a bit longer. The recording, instead of 30 seconds, it's going to be 40 seconds. So the recordings are being longer, and the answer is also a little bit critical. Let's try and listen to this. And now again, when you listen, before you listen, what should we do? We should read the question. We should mark the keywords. Here, listen to a site manager talking to a colleague about some building work. So in this particular part, in this particular statement, what will be the keyword? Site manager, colleague. So colleague and site manager, how do they connect? Talk. And about what? Building work. So these will be your content words. These are the words you have to look out for. Then, why is the work behind schedule? The question is, why is the work? The reason. And you have to listen out for the reason. Main reason why the work is behind schedule. So if we play.
Listen to a site manager talking to a colleague about some building work. Why is the work behind schedule?
I looked at the plans today and I noticed we're behind schedule.
We are. The windows didn't go in last week as planned.
Was that because of staff absences?
No, we were meant to have 30 people on site, but our 25 workers did extra hours, so that didn't slow us down.
So what was the problem?
Well, according to the plan, the frames and glass were due to be delivered on Thursday. For some reason, they didn't arrive.
Was that because the delivery truck broke down on the way?
No, I haven't heard of any transport issues.
What caused the issue then?
I don't know. I'm looking into it.
Okay. So definitely the building materials arrived late, and we can mark the answer as building materials arrived late. So that is how, but we heard about the other options too. Building material is related to work, definitely, yes, but the vehicle could transport the building material as well, and we heard about the vehicles, and we heard about workers as well. So we need to be very careful. Now, what happens if you can't answer a question? There is a bookmark option here. You can bookmark this particular question and come back to it. So looking at the question list, you can see which ones you have attempted, which one you have bookmarked. Maybe you have attempted this, but you're not sure. You can directly click on that. So if you have not attempted number 11, click on number 11 and it takes you to number 11 right away. So that is the best part about the computer screen. You can go forward and backward and actually check your answers as you want to answer them. And the last one, as we mentioned, was the most challenging one. And again, you see what I had shown you earlier, 4 people talking. Now, these 4 people are talking about manual labor. and you need to complete the sentences in this particular way, in particular thing. There will be 4 recordings, and each recording would be 30 seconds long. So when you click on this drop down list, you get 6 options. Always you get 6 options, and your answers will be 4. You need to select 4 answers from these 6 options. The first one is feels tired after work, travels for work, enjoys working with others, arrives late for work, wants another job, doesn't like their boss. Always read and read. Before you play on the audio button, you always need to read. And you need to find out what keywords you can actually hear to answer. So now that you have read what the options are, now you're going to play on the button. And after you play on that button,
4
click
people
on
are
the
talking
drop-down
about
list.
manual labour. Complete the sentences below. Speaker A.
My first year working at the factory was great because I was learning many different skills. However, eventually I stopped learning new things and got bored and tired of it all. Now I'm thinking of a change. I've told my boss I would like a different position within the company, but he says there aren't any openings. I know of other places that would value my skills and experience. I'll be happy to join one of them as soon as I get an attractive offer.
So which one is
Speaker
the
B.
first one? Speaker A.
I work as a builder for a construction company. I perform all
Okay.
sorts of manual labour like lifting and carrying heavy loads of building materials. It's very tough on the body, and I'm left with no energy whatsoever. All the other people I work with say they feel the same by the time they return home. I enjoy working with my hands, though, and want to continue this work. Perhaps I'll do fewer hours. This might leave me less exhausted.
Okay. Sorry.
Speaker C.
I'm an assistant engineer for a large mining company. My supervisors travel a lot for work, but I never leave the company's main factory. I work with very big machinery, and there are many rules and safety precautions to follow. Overall, the job is very interesting. I don't generally like working alone, and fortunately my colleagues are all smart and friendly. I like their company and I learn a lot from them, which keeps me motivated.
Okay.
Speaker D.
I'm an expert mechanic and I work for a particular brand of security doors. My job consists of servicing these special doors across the whole country. Although I spend a lot of time on the road, I also make sure I start each job on time. My wife would like me to get another job, one in which I spend more time at home with her. But the truth is, I enjoy what I do, and it would be difficult to find something else with similar or better pay.
So which one is travels for work? Okay. Now you have chosen. Now if you think that, well, I don't think one of the answer is correct, so you can change it. If you say want another job, you may be thinking that, okay, this is not the right one, you can choose another one. See, it changes. So that shouldn't be a problem. And if you want to confirm your answer, definitely you click on the play button one more time, and that allows you to confirm your answers. So this is the answer list which you have just seen, and if you haven't answered any one of the questions, click on that and you have answered it. And when you click on next, what happens? You have bookmark, you have, what does this show? It's showing how many questions you have bookmarked, how many questions you have not attempted, how many you have attempted, a summary. So you can review the questions by clicking on that if you want to. Otherwise, you click on the submit button. Click on next, and you click on the submit button. Once you click on the submit button, you will no longer be able to access the question, and you tell your candidates this is the final. You have to do that within the 28 minutes which is allowed to them. The time is, if I cancel this, I'm showing you the time. The time remaining is 14 minutes. So we have taken some of the time, 14 minutes and about 13 other minutes is left. So you have to be very, very crucial. You have to show your candidates that the time is definitely a factor. And after that, you need to click on the submit button. And once you click on the submit button, that's it. And your exam is submitted, your exam is done. All right. This, as it is a practice test, it doesn't allow you to retake the test. It doesn't allow you to see the answers. You can retake the test as many times as you want to as your practice. And this is how what the students will face on the screen when they are in the exam. Again, you go for that and it starts all over again. So that's basically the practice test. Now, if we go back to our workshop, this is what we have just seen. And let's have a quick recap of what we have done today. We have looked into the listening test, which is 28 minutes long. There are 3 parts to the test. The skills that you have to focus on are the information recognition and information matching. Information recognition is for part 1 and part 2. This part, we're calling 3 parts because question number 15 and 16 are a little bit longer, so that is why it is being separated. Otherwise, it is the same information matching. And number 17 is information recognition, and number 17 is information matching. Each recording is about 30 to 40 seconds long. There are in total 17 recordings and 20 questions. And the students will be taught about the different stages of listening. We have the pre-listening stage, while listening stage, and the post-listening stage. And it is important that you teach your candidates these 3 different stages to grasp the listening part very well. We saw a glimpse of the CEFR scoring level for listening, which ranges between A1 to B1, and we have A1, A2, and B1. That's what we have seen. And it's time for question answer. Please type in the chat box any of the questions or anything that you are unclear about FET, and I'm going to answer your questions right away. Time for you to time for you to type in the questions in the chat box. If you have any questions from any angle at all, please type in the type it in the chat box. Okay, it seems that you don't have a question. If you don't have a question, I would want you to if you want the recording, that's definitely, if there are no questions, I wish you good luck with your candidates. I wish you good luck. It's APTIS is somehow similar to FET, definitely, but slightly different. So you have to be a little careful when you are teaching with APTIS module. This is the foundation English. This is more like the basic English, the entry-level English. So that is very important. And if that is the case, that's you can't actually take your student to the APTIS level, because APTIS level is a different range and it ranges across. So you can't do that. It's best that you actually have an idea about the FET level, and that will help you with the students. Now, if you would like to have the recording, or if you would like to have the slides of my presentation, can you please type in your email addresses in the chat box so that I can actually go about it and have your okay. Can you address the mark distribution? All right. Thank you. I'm getting email addresses. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes. Very good. Wonderful. I'm getting all the email addresses. Yeah. We're going to have a session on wonderful. Yes, do keep typing in your email addresses. We're going to have a session on reading tomorrow at the same time. So I would want you to join it at 2 o'clock for reading session. And can I have the website link and the recording? I'll send you the website link, or in fact, the website link I can share with you right now. The website is, let me just share the website link with you. Share screen. Okay. All right, this is the website. FET, Foundation English Test Format and Results. And in this website, you can get all the information about the FET thing. If you have chance, if you have time, you can go ahead and look at it. And this website will give you an idea about what we have done today. But I have done a little more details about what we have done today. Yeah. So this is going to be there for you. And it is britishcouncil.org/exam/ all right, let me just type that in the chat box so that you can have a look at it if you want. To everyone. Okay, right. Do you have any other question? No other questions on listening? Questions from any angle at all? Any questions at all? I'll be happy to address any of the questions on listening for your candidates. And I'm sure you have a lot of candidates, so it's best that you actually address the listening in that manner to them and get them sit for the exam.
Madam, Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Madam, I have missed the first hour of your class. I apologize for that. That's why I need the video record of today's class.
Okay. The recording, I think you will need to contact British Council to get that, but I can give you the website. I mean, my presentation. But I would like to give you all the presentation together at the end of the day. So that will be on Thursday after I've finished all the 4 sections. So
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I'm collecting all your email addresses in the meantime.
Okay, ma'am. It would be nice. I have a question, ma'am.
Yes.
We just have 1 month left for the exam, I guess. So I think it won't be efficient. We won't have enough time to teach them properly.
Okay.
Yeah. So just I have to go through with everything, and really first I have to teach them like in a different way. Whatever you taught us is really important, but we can reschedule or we can rearrange the thing, or we can provide some other information or other methods to learn the each modules.
Definitely. Do you have anything in mind? You
Yes,
can
I
share
have
with us.
thing.
Yes, if you
No,
have anything.
I don't want. I wouldn't like to share with you in here, but I think I can help them.
Okay, all right.
Yes, regarding my, based on my understanding, I can help them.
Okay, great. If that is the case, wonderful. I got a question saying, what should we do for the beginners? How do we start with them? Right. For the beginners, what you need to do, good question. What should you do with the beginners? Beginners, you need to actually allow them to listen and listen to a lot of stuff. The different British Council websites, especially the A1 listening, try with that. If we look into the A1 listening, let me share that with you. A1 listening is very, very effective for the listeners. First of all, you need to get them accustomed to the computer and how to look at the website. So if we look at a website, maybe let me just open a web line. Listening A1, British Council. All right, yes, there it is. And you get a series of learning resources. You can use them, the A1 listening, and you see there are different A1 listening activities that you can start with your beginners. And once you start that, I'm sure you can actually get it through. Booklet, you need to contact the British Council. All right. Marking criteria. Okay. Does the course have any booklet? The booklet, British Council. British Council is important. If you have given me your email address, you can leave. And for one of you were asking about the marking criteria. All right, let me take you through the marking criteria. It's here. Marking criteria, you have for the listening marking criteria, let me take you there. It is on 3 different skills, and the first one is A1. And after A1, you have B1. Sorry, A2 and then B1. So if I take you to the marking criteria, here it is. All right. Okay, so the marking criteria, it's marked on 3 different levels, A1, A2, and B1. So A1, that is where the candidates can just follow the speech very slowly and it is carefully articulated. For A2, they can understand enough to be able to meet the needs of a concrete type of provided speech. That is where you can follow the first few questions are based on A1 level. If they can understand and answer them correctly, that is A1 done. For A2, they need to be able to meet a concrete type provided with slow articulation. So they need to understand a little bit more than just 1 or 2 words and try to assimilate what they understood into their understanding and take the correct answer. And B1, that is understand straightforward the factual information about very common day-to-day job. That is it. They can understand the main points of clear standard speech on familiar matters regularly encountered for work. So that is the scale for listening. And this is how it is going to be marked for listening. However, you are also going to get the raw score about how much you scored out of 20. 17 questions, 17 recordings, 20 questions, and how much you're scoring out of that, that will also be portrayed on the screen. All right, that was going to be there. You have any other question? Okay. Just getting your email addresses right. Yes. Please let me know if you have any other questions.
Excuse me, ma'am, if I may,
Yes.
can I ask?
Go ahead.
So, somebody previously asked about the mark evaluation based on which the band score would be provided, like A1, A2. So like which marks usually gets to what level? Like how does it get calculated? If you could elaborate that, please.
Are you talking about if a candidate scores 5 out of 40, 5 out of 20, how much do you get?
Yes.
Okay, definitely there is a rubric for that, and you will actually get that rubric. That rubric is not available to me at the moment, but there is a rubric for how much you score out of how many correct answers. And that is also portrayed on the final report, candidates report, where you have the skill scale report as well as the CEFR report, as I showed you at the beginning of the presentation. All right?
Another question.
Yes.
Which is like, when is the latest we can expect to get the recorded session for this meeting?
Thursday, I believe.
Okay. In that case, I've already provided my email address, so
Yes.
I'll be expecting to receive that on Thursday.
Exactly. Once I finish all the different modules with you, I'm going to email everything together.
Excuse me, ma'am. Could
Yes.
I say something?
Yes, please.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, we are the first day of this session.
Yes. Are you there? Who is speaking? I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, ma'am. Actually, I just mood.
Okay, all right.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Today we are learning lots of things. I'm extremely thankful to you that we are learning lots of things from you. Ma'am, if we have any query, then we can be search on the YouTube or the research lots of things like that one. Ma'am, I have another work. Could you tell me that what's the time for tomorrow? Schedule?
Same time, 2
Same time.
o'clock.
Oh,
2
thank you.
o'clock to
Thanks.
4 o'clock.
Thank you
All
so
these
much, ma'am.
4 days, it's going to be the same time.
Okay, ma'am. Got it.
Okay, all right.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, yes.
I have a confusion actually. So
Yes.
I've searched for aptitude test modules online. So it says it has a core grammar and vocabulary, and you said at the first that there won't be any core. So is it for the FET test or it's also for the aptitude?
We're not talking about aptis at all here. We're talking about, all right. Okay.
Okay, so if we are going to teach our candidates for aptis, we have to give them the grammar and core and all, right?
That's right. But right now we are not looking into aptis. We're looking at foundation English test. And foundation English test is foundation English test is a little bit different from aptis. It's slightly similar but a little bit different. So please don't focus completely on aptis. If you're talking about aptis and if you're very familiar with aptis, try to match whatever is in line with the foundation English test before you give that to your candidates. Otherwise, please refrain from it and just focus on the foundation English test, because that's what you are actually being told or actually being taught or to deliver to your candidates.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, all right. There is a message from Alexandra Gill where it says, teacher booklet copy student is already shared at your respective organization. So please communicate with your institutions or the IT organizations and you can collect those. Our slides will be shared by Ms. Moshida. Yes, definitely I'll share that, but I would like to share all the slides together, and that will be on Thursday once I finish all the record different sessions with you. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And with that note, can I say bye-bye for today, and we meet tomorrow at the same time?
Inshallah. Inshallah, ma'am.
Inshallah, yes. So please log
Thank
in
you,
at
ma'am.
2
Assalamualaikum.
o'clock tomorrow for the reading session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Allah
Thank
Hafiz.
you. You're welcome.
Thank you